chair here for you.
Pass the fourth
I mean,
page.
still walk past that whole. No, actually, I'll go next.
Okay,
You're fine, just go over and sit for it, because there's a pause.
we're not
Okay, so
reading
pause.
anymore.
Yeah, the space bar.
No, no, I didn't think we
Okay.
were.
Okay.
We need to make sure we remember to do that.
So did you say we had you on here?
That was number one.
I didn't say.
Okay, there you go. You're the troublemaker.
Not on purpose.
Okay. Thank goodness you're a Bengals fan and not a, you know that other one.
Man, I went up to,
Yeah.
Come on,
went up to Washington.
You'd be number two.
Never got to
It's Tony.
And
I mean, you're Tony
United
Cole.
States, and I had my
You're
baseball
Andrew,
jacket on.
right? You're Andrew.
It's very nice.
For right
And you
now.
know what?
For right
Unless
now,
unless you're
for
living
today.
on it. Change that at any minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Right.
Hey, how was your vacation?
It was wonderful, thank you. It was nice just to get away. You have a cup in the back and you have a drink bottle in the back.
Is that my white bottle?
Yes.
You know, I've been looking for that for like a month now.
Will you guys leave stuff on
Well,
my
now you
desk?
know.
Maybe cup?
All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order, so let's do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Veteran Service Commission of Hamilton County Board meeting is now called to order. We'll have roll call, Pam.
All right, Commissioner Hadden,
Present.
Commissioner Rowland,
Attending.
Commissioner Stanford,
Here.
Commissioner Watson,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
Executive Director Orlando Sonda,
Here.
and me, I'm here.
And we'll introduce our guest. Andrew Pappas, is
Yep.
that- okay. Tony Coyle, right?
Oh, KOHL.
Okay. And Raphael Prophet. Okay, great. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I will make that motion.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Pam.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. Okay, we have, the minutes of our prior meeting was in your packet, and they were emailed out, prior to the meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
Have a motion and properly second to approve the minutes of our board meeting from June the 5th, 2024. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Pam.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
And here's the copy I need all of you to sign before we forget this. I have to bother you.
Don't lose it.
Don't lose it. Stick it in your file.
This one's pen.
Don't lose it before you get it back to Pam.
These here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. On the agenda, to review emergency financial assistance applications for the period of June the 5th, 2024 through June the 25th of 2004, as described in RC 121.22J and 5901.09. I will entertain a motion to move to executive session.
Motion to move to executive session.
Have a motion to move to executive session. Do we have a second?
Yes, I second that.
Seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Pam.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. We will now adjourn to executive session and we'll come out and get you as soon as we're done.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
You go wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
That's the map of the layout for the event that they put together.
I will entertain a motion to, approve the, assisted applications.
Motion to approve the assistant.
I'll second.
I heard two, who's gonna second? Richard, okay.
You get it, you said it, yeah, you did it.
There you go. So we have a motion and a second to approve the assisted application report. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all the, I'm sorry, Pam, roll call please.
Commissioner Hadney?
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandiford?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes. And we'll entertain a motion to approve the, application expired report.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion and seconded to approve the expired report. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call please, Pam.
Commissioner Hadney?
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandiford?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes. Okay, we're gonna move down to old business, and, we're gonna have reports on the Veterans Appreciation Resource event. First from Commissioner Stanford.
Yes, we've made quite a few movement on the programming. I've provided, Pam has provided the resource list and the map layout, I believe, of the event. We fine detailed some of that yesterday, directing where volunteers and vendors will be entering the facility. We've given the VA kind of their own space that we've kind of tentatively called VA land. They will have 8 tables out there. We have numerous educational and resource vendors, as well as financial assistance with Job and Family Services. Social Security Administration will be there. United Way. We have housing. And then we have a bunch of legal services, which we will be doing some expungements for veterans to qualify, as well as career opportunities in the aerospace, the sheriff's office, Western Southern. They've all agreed to have tables set up to recruit veterans who may be looking for a long-term career with a stable company in the area. We're collecting things. American Legion Post 631 has kindly donated $500 for the giveaway items. Commissioner Wilson has donated 100 in gift cards. I have also pledged $100 in gift cards for the event. I would ask the other commissioners, if possible, to possibly consider. And Commissioner Hedden also just donated $100 on his end, so I would ask the remaining commissioners if they would.
I'll address my deal up there and see if we can, I'm pretty sure I can get some.
That would be great, and then I have some flyers I can give you afterwards to take to the post.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, a question that came up at the meeting last night, about, do the veterans, when they come in, do they need ID? And to register, and I didn't know, cause I wasn't at the last meeting, so I'd
Don't
like
need-
an answer to go back.
Name and phone number and email address preferably to register. I mean, we can register them the day of the event. We're obviously encouraging everybody that can to pre-register on our website, which the link's there. You can go in, fill out your information, I'll ask you what branch. I don't know if we added the county on the event right yet or not.
No,
Okay.
no county.
question, cause there was one that lady, they was from Butler County, could they
We're
come?
not
And
excluding anybody from the
that's what I
event.
told them, so.
That is not, obviously this is primarily for Hamilton County residents, but with the VA and the DAV national organization, stuff like that, a lot of these resources do not just apply to Hamilton County. So Easter Seals works over, United Way, all that stuff, but there is core items in here that are Hamilton County only. And also talking with the other commissions, they will provide, some cards and some business flyers for their county. So when we do register somebody, if they're from Claremont, we can give them the correct contact information as well as take their information. And we will turn that over to Claremont, Warren, or Butler to make sure that they can follow up with their veterans in their county. So that way, I talked with the executive directors at Claremont and stuff yesterday. So they're more than happy to provide any material we may need to assist their veterans. And then also, I told them we'd reciprocate and give them the contact information so they can do the follow-up.
Another question was, volunteers. How would they, sign up for volunteers, is,
DAV is currently providing the volunteers. There is a DAV website link that they have a long-standing volunteer list. They are providing the bulk of the volunteers. And then obviously, our office is volunteering / working on directing everybody where they need to go and assist with that. So, but Ron Mentor from the DAV has really, and I think we should, as a commission at some point, write them a thank you letter because they have invested in this so heavily. They even did postcards at their expense and sent them out to encourage veterans of their mailing registry to register.
Also, on a side note, I just wanna mention, Monday, I did a mail out to all the different posts, and veterans organizations, so everybody should be getting it to their post as well, to have.
Okay.
So,
Is that mail, Pam?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The only thing that I'd add from Commissioner Stanford is emails now have also been sent out to all these posts, so they've got email, mail, and I know Commissioner Stanford's actually physically gonna go and hand flyers out too, so they've got notice. It's 66 resource partners, and all 66 tables have been accounted for, so it's an event that Hamilton County's never seen. That's why we're calling it the inaugural Veterans Appreciation Day. The only thing I'd add is, and it was news to me, that we do have a sister entity in the Association for Officers and Enlisted Soldiers for the U.S. Army that do Operation Thank You every August. That they're now entering into their third year, and they had 2,000 veterans last year, and it's done at Sawyer Point. I've talked to their president, who's Commissioner, yeah.
Who's still on pause?
No, we're not. We are.
Okay.
We are rolling. Yeah. Yeah. That's Sergeant Major Mike Boyd. Sergeant Major Boyd said that they're very interested in showing their support for the Veterans Appreciation Day, and I just relate to him that, of course, we're going to support as well their Operation Thank You. We don't want this to be a competition here for veterans outreach. So that's a date in August. I'll get details on what specific day, and we'll put it on the website as well. The sister counties. I made contact not just Claremont, but Butler County and Montgomery County, and also Warren County as well. Know that their staff is also invited to the Veterans Appreciation Day. We're not blasting it out to all the veterans in the county, but again, as Commissioner Sanford said, we're not excluding anybody. But the invitation just to learn from our event has been extended to the sister counties as well. So that'd be the 4 surrounding counties in our region.
Have we contacted Clinton County?
No.
Okay. We may
Recommend
want to
sure. Do that.
reach out to them. They are in our district.
Okay.
Another thing I ain't heard, we neighboring Kentucky and Indiana. What would be the involvement for them? Are we reaching out to them, or what?
Those states do not have organized, that Indiana does, but Kentucky does not have an organization similar to ours. We have, obviously talking with the DAV and the VA, we're not, again, they're more than welcome to attend, and anything that if we can do claim work for veterans in Kentucky, we can do claim work for anybody, anywhere. That is just the way it works. So the only thing that they wouldn't qualify for is the financial assistance stuff, but even some of this programming here, in this area was being unique with the tri-state area, they do, a lot of these organizations do provide services across the state lines. So we have, some of the mailings do include those states.
That's right. Just for information, that's all for my, to let people know, cause I'm the one commissioning people. Find out one commission and, someone live in Kentucky and they ask me questions, so now I have something to give them some feedback on.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job, Rick. We appreciate you being a member of our board. All right, we'll move on to new business. First thing on the agenda is paid advertising slots.
Yeah, this is, mine, there's been discussion, the county has taken the stance that no, current, public official running for office, appears in any paid or earned advertising. The concern is to take away from whatever messaging it may be. We have a lot of stuff appearing for this, we want it to be about this event.
Yes.
So I would ask that we would take a stance as well as, and unfortunately this applies to you, but it's not meant, it's just in general, we want it to be about the messaging, and you know that if certain things happen, they're gonna ask questions that take away from the event or from the commission what we're doing. So I'd ask that we just adopt the same policy the county's taken. None of the two commissioners that are running are appearing in any paid or earned media. Now, obviously, spontaneous interviews like with Craig McKee and stuff like that, that is not an issue, because those are not something we pay for or that is given to us free. Like we have a VA that Commissioner Wilson's going to be doing. Brian Thomas is doing an interview July 1st with him. That the VA pays for that time period, but they are giving us that slot this coming month to advertise our event.
Yeah, and I agree 100% with that, that we need to step away from that, cause, people running, they do try to come in and get some free advertisements and stuff, so.
We are
I'm glad you
apolitical,
brought that up.
we are apolitical, even though perceptions at times may not be, but we need to make sure we make the stance that everybody knows that we are not a political organization, no matter what is said about us. We're here to help every veteran that we possibly can, and that's all we care about.
That's my concern too, so.
That's right, and I'll say that, agree 100%. So I've always said from day one that I serve with the pleasure of this board, and nothing should come in the way of servicing our veterans in Hamilton County. So if it comes to advertising, again, was happy to get our radio ads out there for this event, but this event is important for our over 40,000 veterans, so I have no objection to that. Thank you for bringing that up.
So I'd like to make that motion to restrict any paid or earned advertising to non-officials who are running for office.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call, Pam.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Staniford,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. All right, next item on the agenda is commission meetings.
Thank you. We are fortunate at this point, or I'll say I am anyway, to have a new executive director and two new staff members. And they're in the process of doing team building exercises and getting work done in a, I think, a very productive manner. We have moved to meeting twice a month primarily because we didn't have an executive director, and the commissioners were willing to pick up some of that slack. And in light of the fact that we now have our own commissioner, our own executive director, and some new staff members, I make a motion that we return the meeting schedule for the commission back to its original form, which was meeting every second Wednesday, once a month.
Okay, we have a motion to, scale back our meetings to go back to our original format, which is once a month, the second Wednesday of every month at 10 a.m. Do I have a second?
Mr. Watson, I agree with everything you just stated there, and I will second that motion.
Thank you.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes. I wasn't here, but I would like to know what's the pros and cons of the two meetings. Was it going real good to the once a month meeting? Could somebody, establish that and fill me in on that?
Well, I think basically we went from, if you don't mind me saying, we went from one meeting a month to 2 meetings a month because we didn't have an executive director and there was more business for us to attend to. Our board meets and oversees what goes on in the office and approves the financial applications. But we're not really involved with the day-to-day operations of this board. That's what we have an executive director for, that's what we have staff members for. So that's the reason why we went to 2 meetings, because we didn't have one. We didn't know when we were gonna have one, and we wanted to make sure that we tried to keep the business flowing as smoothly as we possibly could at the time.
I would like to talk.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm obviously probably gonna be in the minority here, but I disagree. I feel this commission needs to keep an eye on it. This is something that in the past, with 1 meeting a month, we did not have a watchful eye, per se, on the whole office. We are responsible for everything in this office, and the executive director and staff are the point people to do what we set forth. That being said, a county of our size, I don't think it's unreasonable to have 2 meetings a month. Now, if we were a tiny county with 15,000 veterans, I could understand that, or less, what they do, but most of the large counties have at least 2 meetings a month, where some of the counties have a meeting every week. And especially once we establish guidelines and for the financial assistance with a $2,500 limit for the executive director to approve, as well as looking at some of the repeat financial assistances that aren't really emergency. I would like to see something in place that would be like a $5,000 limit, and anything past that, they would immediately have to appear in front of the board for every financial assistance, because obviously this is for an emergency case, not a monthly stipend to assist. We need to help veterans who need the help, as well as we've talked about eventually starting a financial class to teach veterans how to properly manage their finances, which I think over time will correct a lot of those issues. But in the time, for me, I feel like that we need to be more involved and not revert back to the way things were and be less involved.
Okay.
Madam President, I think that we have a staff, a competent staff. We are not involved directly, nor should we be involved directly in the day-to-day business of this staff. We're here for oversight and guidance. Emergency matters can always be handled on an emergency basis, but the regular flow of business can be done by our competent staff. And it doesn't need us to meet twice a week to oversee what they're doing. But we're still available, if need arise, to deal with anything on an emergency basis.
I would like to add that too, since Mr. Saunders has been on, he has kept us well informed of what's going on down here, and I'm okay with that.
I'm sorry, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I wanted to add, the way you talk.
I'll state your name, please.
Tony Cole. I'm the finance officer for the Purple Heart Service Foundation. And the way you're talking about this, you don't need commissioners. You're always available. You should be here every week, talking about this stuff. And the first thing I'll tell you, you have this in probably, I got a closet that's bigger than this thing. I had to pay $15 to park and come over here and listen to this prattle about nothing. If you can't do it every week, resign. Some of you guys have been on this board way too long, and women. And don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna come after. I appointed one guy, didn't I, Jerry? How long you been here? 10 years, 15 years?
12.
12 years,
Yes.
okay. And what's the limitation? 5?
There is no current limitation. The
There
only
should be a limitation on
I
it.
don't disagree with you. The only organization that provides a limitation is the DAV, and their charter allows 2.
Okay, let me go back and I'll tell you, since I was commander of the Purple Heart, when I sent in when an operation, or when a seat opened up with the Korean War veterans, I got a note back that they were very happy with the Korean War veteran who was serving because he had been there 10 years and the judge thought he was just peachy. So they were gonna keep him. But let's not change things. You people that have been here, you've ruined this. You have ruined this. Yes, ruined it. And don't tell me, because I know the other commissioners, I know the other people in this state. And you better wake up. And if you don't have enough courage, first to move this to somewhere they can get to, I could see somebody coming down here with an emergency trying to park. You reimburse them for their parking? I just paid
Yes, we
$15
do.
for an hour.
Yes, we
And
do.
you think it's like, and you think you got a staff? Well, if you got a staff, you don't need commissioners. And then if you're gonna throw it on the executive director, well, then you don't need commissioners. You better be involved and know what the hell's going on with each and every case. I do this, and I do it every day. Because I get emergency grants sent to me every day from veterans. You know, with a transmission that went out and I can't work. You know, but I'm not gonna sit home on my fat butt saying my goddamn staff is so good. You guys are ridiculous. You better get this changed, and you better get it changed now. We've got some new members, you need some more new members. A lot more new members. And yes, you got the DAV involved, and all these people you're talking about, I'm real close with all of them. I'm telling you, when McGee told me what was going on with this place, I was embarrassed to hell. 40,000 veterans. And how you work, and then you come in, and we're gonna do I-59, we're gonna go into executive session. You need to be clear about what it is. This is for $5,000. You don't have to give names. But what you have to give is what's going on. That's BS. You don't have closed door meetings, period. You have executive session. I've been to more meetings than you can count. And I know how they work. And I've run more meetings. And I'm not gonna be railroaded with this crap or what you guys doing. If you can't meet, then good, resign. Get somebody who wants to be on this board, who wants to be here every week, and find a place where you can meet. I'm sure UC or X will give you an ROTC room, probably at no charge, with free parking. It's got bus service. It's got everything in the world.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. We are working, hopefully by the beginning of next year, we will have a new facility. That is something that I took near and dear, that we wanted to find a place. As you stated, parking for people who come in for emergency financial assistance and they have to pay, it was absurd. Which is one of the reasons why we moved to include their parking into their emergency financial assistance, so they don't have to worry about that. It's the best that I could do, or this board could do, with a bad situation.
I understand, but now.
So we're making changes. The new facility will have free parking.
Madam President.
What you're talking about here is not a change. I gotta pay $15 now. You can, what are you gonna give me a check on the way out?
I gotta pay $15.
Okay,
I know.
we've discussed this, thank you, thank you, sir.
This probably should be a second motion, but in addition to going back to our once a month meeting, with an efficient and an effective staff, I would like to do something else. Since I've been on the board, I have visited 9 veterans organizations. Most of them, not necessarily most, but a majority of their memberships indicate that they are not aware of what we do. They don't know what our mission is. And in addition to that, some of them, a percentage, I won't say how much, are actively sending their veteran members to other county VSOs. I'm not gonna mention which ones, but they felt that our organization wasn't meeting their needs, whatever their needs were. So as a part of my motion to move us back to one monthly meeting, I'd like to see us take our meetings to the community. There are organizations out there that would proudly host our meeting. I've talked to 4 veterans service organizations who would gladly host their meeting, and they have the facilities to do it. The last one I spoke with, there was 150 people in attendance at the last veterans chapter that I attended. They asked me to speak, and there were 150 people there in attendance, and they said they would gladly host a Hamilton County Veterans Service meeting. So I think that once a quarter, to improve our public image, to expand to not just the veterans organizations, to the public, because these meetings are open public meetings, that we're going out into the, Hamilton County is a big county. We don't have to come down here and deal with the parking, we don't have to deal with the absence of the shortness, smallness of facilities. We can go someplace that has plenty of parking and plenty of facility assets. And once a quarter, it would let the public know who we are, let the veterans organization know who we are, and we get some real positive press out of it. So in addition to going to monthly meetings, I would like to have 1 meeting per quarter in the community at a veterans organization or some other organization.
Excuse me, Madam President, excuse me. We got a motion on the floor. You bringing another motion on. We got to get this motion passed or fail.
Well, he can amend his motion.
So Commissioner Watson, are you amending your current motion, or are you going to?
Let's do one at a time.
Yeah, okay,
You're right.
yeah.
Let's do the motion on the moving to the meeting, and then the other motion.
Yeah, okay.
After we dispose of that.
The motion to move it back to once a month, Commissioner Hedden?
I stand.
Okay. Commissioner Rowland?
Yes.
Commissioner Staniford?
No.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
No.
Okay, so I have a 2 and 2 and an abstain.
Abstentions are counted,
Well,
other rules with the majority, but there's no
It's
majority.
no majority.
Yeah.
So the motion fails because it doesn't have a majority vote.
Now, would you like to make a motion to?
Yes. I make a motion that once a quarter, we have our meetings in the community or at other organizations.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Hedden, to once a quarter have our board meeting at a different veterans location or fraternal organization that would like to host the meeting. Is there any discussion?
yes, please, Madam President. I would like to see it, if we're gonna stick with the 2, why not do 1 meeting a month out in the community and 1 meeting here? That way we're doing exactly what Commissioner Watson wants, but if we're gonna have, this would be something that would allow us to hit multiple organizations. Instead of 1, we could hit 3 and a quarter. I mean, I think that would be an excellent opportunity to get out into the community. It doesn't stop us. I mean, this stuff travels. As long as they have Wi-Fi, we can do this. And a place where we can have a closed door executive session, I think, I like the idea of getting out into the community, and I think we should take it further.
So Commissioner Stanford, what the staff could do then, if that's the decision of the board, is we could take then recommendations, or if there's already a venue that the commissioners are able to acquire, our staff can then coordinate with them to make sure there's proper notice given to the public.
I would agree that that would be, and then you guys could schedule that out, on our website, saying that this meeting will be held here with the address, and we can do it at a 3-month block at a time, so everybody's aware.
And if we can't, for whatever reason, weather constraint or some sort of last minute thing, is it okay that the default remains still this boardroom?
I would say so.
I would agree with that.
Again, in a civil tone this time.
Thank you.
Most of these, you're welcome, most of these meetings are held in the evening. Are you willing to change to a night? And I'd like to know who had 150 members. I belong to 15 organizations.
That gentleman right there.
Who? 3180? 3180, is that what you're talking about?
10-380,
Huh?
10-380,
10380?
yes.
I'd like to know when you had 150.
Well, you're a member, daggone it, why
I
don't you
know
know?
I'm a member.
Hey, guys, hey, listen,
Hey,
we're not here to,
Gary, I
we're not,
really don't care. Don't give me any of your BS. You never had 150 members.
Last Thursday.
Never had 150.
Last.
And the other thing is,
You want me to
okay, I'll
bring
go
the
with the
roster
night,
up?
and most of them aren't
Yeah.
going to. All right, give him this 150. Where else you gonna go? I guarantee you, you will not pull in that many. I would seriously suggest that you have one place where people can come to, and especially people who need to. Instead of being on the outside of Hamilton County where maybe somebody down in the downtown area or somewhere out on the west side needs some assistance, and then they've gotta drive all over or whatever.
Our assistance can be done over the phone.
And online.
And online. We
Okay,
have made that.
That's good. I
We
had
have
no
made,
idea you could do that.
we have made that with the COVID restrictions, that was something that was in place in the office.
Long time
Obviously,
ago.
we want to have that personal interaction with a veteran, because
Mhm.
one of the things I think is important, and we've talked about it, is to get eyes on a veteran, to see how they're doing, instead of just talking to them on the phone. Because
Yeah.
all I care about, and all this board cares about, truly at its heart, is helping veterans. And sometimes it's not just money they need, maybe they need somebody to talk to, or somebody to be like, hey, can we, you know, it's just, with what was handed and what we've had here, this building was provided by the county, which is by Ohio law, is what they're to do. We are working on moving to a facility out in the community that will have a large enough meeting space for as many people as you could possibly imagine. With updated technologies, updated facilities, which is in step with what we wanna do moving forward with transportation, more staffing, to help more veterans in Hamilton County. And I understand the frustration, because you've seen me, I am frustrated, and the board is frustrated. We wanna move this forward, but again, we're constrained with, no different than the military, this is the government, and the government moves however fast it wants to move. We have to wait for the county to finish their due diligence on the building, and with the assurance that,
This is about our meeting schedule.
I know.
with the assurance that we will be one of the first organizations into the new building, because we do not need a lot of remodeling.
I'm sorry, Raphael.
Yeah, on the motion, something to consider, I'd recommend that, since we're still at 2 meetings a month, that you keep one of those meetings consistent,
I
at the
would say the
same
first
time,
meeting's
at
gonna
the
be
same
here.
place, so everybody will know that that's the standard. And then, to address Tony's issue, maybe the second meeting would be off-site, would be in the evening, right? Would probably be in line with most of those post normal meetings.
So we have to have it here, an appeal or whatever. I think that we have to keep some kind of standard of, having our first meeting here, during the day at the regular time.
The other thing too, Commissioner
Other
Wilson,
meeting can go anywhere.
the other thing to add too is that, with the exception of this meeting, that starting at the next, meeting, we'll be live with our own YouTube channel. So there's an opportunity for someone to tune in, not just live, but to watch a recording, and then also submit their inquiry, through online means. So, we're trying to expand access for sure, but consistency is good.
Okay, we have a motion.
Let me address this issue about meeting in the evening. The organizations that I've talked to are willing to host the meetings. They did not require evenings or mornings or afternoons. That's something that's to be scheduled if we agree to go into the community. Those hours can be set to the hours that we want and that they're willing to host. It's not necessarily to meet with them during their normal meeting hours.
not opposed to varying up the schedule. Obviously, I mean, we were set at a standard time for a long time. Moving it to 10 o'clock allowed other people to attend that couldn't before. I wouldn't be opposed to varying different times, whether it's the evening, late afternoon, to allow the public more access to come in person to these meetings. I just think that when we schedule, like we were talking about, we set the time of whatever, talking with said organization. They say, hey, we can do 5 o'clock, or we can do 6, or we can do 4.
We just need to give proper
We
notice to the
just
public.
proper notice is all we need to do and get it out to all the veterans and all the public who want to be there. But I don't see a problem with varying the second meeting, keeping one meeting here at our time, so it's consistent, and then varying the other one in a month to a different time. That's just all I gotta say. Thank you.
Okay.
I believe the motion on the floor is that we have
I don't
one.
want to motion. Motion on the floor is that we meet quarterly. Anything other than that has to be amended.
Commissioner Watson, would you be willing to amend your motion?
Well, now that we're gonna be meeting twice a month, we can switch it to, I'll amend the motion that we meet, one of our monthly meetings be within the community at an agency.
That would be our second. We're gonna keep our first meeting here just for continuity.
Yeah, I'm just leaving it
Yeah,
open,
just saying.
I'm not fixing it one way or the other. One of our meetings be within the community at an appropriate organization that's willing to host us.
I'll
To
second
set
that.
one of our monthly meetings.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor, and it's duly been seconded. That would be 2 meetings, a month. And one meeting will be at a different location, and time could vary, but will be posted, for the public on our website, and, it'll be, definitely discussed, the location and that at our first meeting every month. Okay, roll call.
Okay. And who seconded that motion? Okay, Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandifer,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. Okay, and, the executive director's update, 90-day plan of action, VSS office visits, retention, transportation services, and website update.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. First, I just want to read this into the record. One of our VSOs, Mr. Kevin Ott, received this personal letter from a veteran that he serviced. He mailed it to him today. It says, Mr. Ott, I just want to express my deep gratitude for the dedicated work that you did in my behalf. I hope you can enjoy this gift. Thanks, Jim Collins. Mr. Collins is a veteran. I believe Mr. Ott helped him out. He also put in there a $100 gift card, of course, because we're a government entity, and Veteran Service Officer Kevin Ott did the right thing. He told me about this. We're going to mail this back to Mr. Collins with a personal thank you letter for his thank you, and then just regretfully decline his gift. But I just wanted to read that because we need more of that, especially for our veteran service officers. First and foremost, the 90-day plan of action. You all have received that I've drafted and have emailed already for your review. If you want to hand it out, Pam, to our members of the public here. You can take mine. Okay.
Thank you.
Just an overview, not going line by
Here
line.
you go, sir.
But Commissioners, this is what I submit to you as my 90-day plan of action as the Executive Director. It's in phases, just keeping in line with what we're all very accustomed to as all members of the military. Phase 1 is assessment and planning. Currently in that 30-day period where I've been assessing the office, our staff capability, what we are currently doing and where there's room for improvement. And then also going to our sister offices as well, the surrounding VSCs in other counties, to also glean from them best practices. So that's in the first 30 days. That's ongoing right now. Phase 2 is then implementation and execution. There are certain things that I've highlighted that I'd like to begin executing with the staff. Modernizing office systems. As you can see, we're now have the ability to record our own meetings, upload it onto the website, so anyone that missed these public meetings can view it through open source on the website, and then also go into a YouTube channel to live stream these meetings as well. Improving staff and morale, that's actually going now. Trying to keep a high morale for the staff from day one. They know that what I like to do is to foster not just a team environment, but one where there's appreciation that's extended from the top down and from the down up to improve morale. And then community outreach enhancement. This is clearly a partnership that is in the works between the staff and the commissioners, which is great. This idea for moving these meetings into the community is exactly what I heard from the commissioners and what I'm trying to implement and execute on your vision. Phase 3 is expansion and continuation of continuous improvements. That's where we expand the services that we're offering to our veterans currently here in Hamilton County. I can talk really now, and that bleeds over into the VSC office visits. I've now visited 3 of our sister offices. I visited Butler County, spoken with their staff, their executive director, Mike Farmer. I visited Claremont County, Stephen Belzo, who's their new executive director. He's about 30 days ahead of me, and talked to him last week. Also visited Montgomery County, Kim Frisco, their executive director. Still waiting to get a schedule for Warren County with Mr. John Agenbrod. But I do have a 2-day trip planned for Stark County. I understand Commissioner Stanford had great lessons learned that he learned from Commissioner Deanne Williams. So I'll be making that same trip to learn from them as well. Basically, that's where our ability to expand services derive from, is that there are sister counties, to Commissioner Watson's point, that veterans in Hamilton County go to for access to services that we are not currently providing here. Whether it's more expanded dental care, eye care, transportation services. Here we're currently providing bus passes, currently working with Metro Access, but other counties have Uber Health or Lyft or a taxi service to provide for broader door-to-door. Also, financial literacy program. Montgomery County has a partnership with Wright-Patterson Credit Union for financial literacy program. We've talked about that. That from the last meeting is how do we build our own financial literacy program internal to our VSC so that we help our fellow veterans get out of their cycle of going in and out of needing emergency financial relief because they may just need help with budgeting or getting into financial independence. Other expansion of services as well. One of the ones that Montgomery County offers is they offer pro bono legal services. And look at our counsel here, he's probably thinking from the prosecutor's office, how in the world are they doing that? Well, they've sent me their position description. They've created a staff attorney position internal to the VSC whose sole job is providing free estate planning, eviction assistance to stop evictions, and it's a staff attorney that works with the VSC in partnership with the prosecutor's office, not doing their job of criminal cases or advising the executive director or the commissioners, solely to help veterans. Because what they found is that it's a hook for veterans. A lot of veterans don't know what the Veterans Service Commission does, but they may know that right now they need help to not get evicted from their apartment. So they advertise this free legal service, and that staff attorney, who's a veteran, he's a Marine Corps veteran, his name is Stephen, he brings them to the office, advises them, helps them get out of eviction, and then says, before you leave here, I want you to talk to the VSO and see if you need help with your utility bill. I think it's a great thing that we could potentially explore. But that's my 90-day plan of action. It's assessment, implementation, and then expansion of services. Pending any questions from anyone.
Speaking, I guess with that, we're following some of the stuff here. Community engagement events in your second phase. I like that. What I'd like to see, and some more work for Pam, and I apologize. But,
Yeah.
yes, what I think we need to do is have a calendar that involves the commissioners. That way we know where commissioners are going, with where they're at, what organizations. Commissioner Watson, you visited 16 different organizations? 9. And some of those, like if Commissioner Hedden or I wanted to, we don't want to overlap, but also if we want to be involved with that, I would like to make a motion that we have a shared calendar within the office with the commissioners about the engagement events and organizational stuff ahead of time, so that if commissioners want to attend, or if a BSO, we all know what's going on in the community, so we can be involved with the outreach efforts. That way it's all planned, and we're not overlapping, or we're missing something that we thought somebody else covered.
Yeah, I mean, we can start doing that now. I don't think a motion required.
Deanne Williams, they have a big shared calendar that everybody has access to, and it shows different colors for different
Event calendar.
event calendar for this commissioner, or if it's a BSO, it's blue. Trust me, she loves colors and organization, but that way we all would have access to see
Great.
where everything's going on and where we're covered or where we may not be covered. So if there's an event that you guys have, but we don't have a commissioner going or whatever, like the MOAA breakfast that I went to, that engagement, stuff like that, I'd like to be able to share that with the commission, and so we all know what's going on and attend it if we so choose.
Yeah.
I also agree with expanding. Hamilton County is a big county, and there are all kinds of activities. Sometimes we'll get a request from someone in the community. Sometimes it's just an idea or a thought that comes to us that isn't on anybody's particular calendar. But to have I see that having a forecasted, prescriptive schedule of meetings when nobody has anything planned. A lot of these are spontaneous, a lot of these are ideas that come up when you're driving down the road, or sometimes attending your own veteran service meeting. You'll get some ideas that you might want to bring back to the organization. So nothing restricts us from doing that as individual commissioners. And if we have projects that the board wants to do, we certainly could do those. But the freedom to reach and engage the community is something that I think we should all retain.
Yes.
I agree to an extent, but if you are going to be representing the commission, if you are going to wear your commissioner shirt and be a commissioner and not a member of the organization, I feel these things need to be presented to the rest of the commission and the staff so that we can be involved if we so choose. To do essential rogue activities and we don't know what's going on until after.
Rogue activities?
It's just a term, I mean, to go do things and not let the board know about it until after it's already occurred. I think that I've done it too, and I am guilty of that. I don't want to. I want people involved with this. I don't want to be the only one who goes to an event if we can have more attend. I think that we want to be involved and we want to hear from these organizations and the public. So I ask that if you do have something that has come up, even if it is short notice, to let Pam know so she can disperse it on the calendar or whatever, so that way we can be involved, instead of just one commissioner being involved. That's just me.
And I think, so Commissioner Stanford's point is notice. Commissioner Watson, it's not approval. I'm not hearing a approval process. I'm hearing just a shared calendar where even if it's spontaneous, you can get on the phone, call me or Pam, say, hey, I'm headed to this event. Can you just put it on the calendar? That way we've got another commissioner that pulls up their phone and says, oh, they're going to the same event I'm going to. Well, that's good. I think putting just notice out there through a shared calendar. I'm not hearing an approval process.
No, I would not be, it just would be sort of
Communication.
a communication,
Sure.
which is something that I think this office and the commission has struggled with at times is proper communication, and I think that
I
we
think
should
it would
foster
also,
that.
we would have that calendar showing this is our involvement out in the community.
Yes, and that's exactly it, so that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
And just so you know that also I have David, our new service officer, working on contacting the, assisted living and the, nursing homes throughout Hamilton County to get back into them to do outreaches, because a lot of them can't attend events or whatever to filing claims and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got on that. So
Yeah.
that's
And-
part of our community outreach there.
Yes, yeah, nursing homes and assisted living facilities as well. Lastly, meeting record retention, we talked about it already, so our office now will be, sir.
I have a motion on the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was a motion.
Yeah, a motion to that we share calendars and inform each other of events that are occurring, whether it is short notice or not, but at least coordinate with the office to let all the commission members know.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
We're not gonna get into
No, I
discussion?
said, you didn't give me a chance.
I thought I was out of order, so that's why I stopped. And I was out of order, right?
You are out of order, but it's
I
all
was,
right.
I'm not
It's all
now.
right, it's all right.
Yeah.
So any other discussion?
I see this as a restriction on what the commissioners are asked to do when they're brought on to the commission. The judges spoke with us, who interviewed me particularly, spoke to us about bringing new ideas, new directions to some of the issues that were existing in the commission at the time we came on board. I feel that my judgment about which organization I should go to or who I want to talk to, or maybe it's just an individual issue that I have some, there are a couple issues that I've brought to the board that I am working on alone because they're ideas that I want to get done. And it doesn't require someone else to be involved in it because it's just a concept that I'm working on. And it may or may not come to fruition. And I think that to require the commissioners to each individually tell you where they're going and give you an opportunity to be there, well, maybe they don't want you there. Maybe they just want to work on it. I got the floor. Maybe they just want to work on their own individual thing and bring it to the board after they've worked on it. I see this as a restriction on our movement, a restriction on our ability to concept and come up with ideas that we wish the board to get involved in, which means meeting with people. And it may not be an issue that I want to take to the board, but I do want to meet with that person. So to put that announcement out there that this is where I'm going, who I'm going to be meeting with, I think is unnecessary.
I don't think that that's the intent of this shared event calendar, correct, Commissioner Stanford? This is a public event calendar where if you're going to a public event, representing the office, you know, a meet and greet, a luncheon, a veterans memorial event, I think that's what would be shared on the calendar.
I guess the way I see it to address Commissioner Watson on this is, yes, we are each commissioners and we are free to do, but as a commissioner, we are nothing without the whole. To go and do something separate without the board's at least notice of it, to represent this board, one commissioner cannot make a decision or to be involved in something. To bring it to the board, yes, you can bring it, but to want to be involved in the public, if you're going to public events, public meetings and stuff like that, I don't see a reason why you would want to keep that hidden from the rest of the commission until at a time that you deem necessary to bring it up, where there maybe I want to attend an event that you're attending. I'm not saying that I would disagree or interfere, but to be informed of what's going on in the public or what the commission may be looking into. And so that I'm not eventually, and we've done it, I've done it because we didn't have the direction, where it's just one commissioner bringing up something. I feel like I would rather be better informed of the situation if I was involved in at least observing or knowing what's going on in the community, that's the direction that the commission may take.
Okay,
Madam President,
yes.
I'll give you an example. A member of Jerry's, Commissioner Rowland's chapter invited me to attend their meeting. I went on his invitation as a Hamilton County Veteran Service Commissioner. It was an invitation to me personally. I went personally. While I was there, yes, I spoke about the commission, but that kind of, I wasn't anticipating it. I got invited to attend, and they didn't extend the invitation to anybody other than me. So I agreed to go, and I went. On my way to that meeting, that person who invited me said, "Is there a gentleman in your commission by the name of Stanford?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, he spoke at a meeting for the Reserve Officers and Enlisted Association of the Army last week." Well, I had no knowledge of that, and it didn't bother me that he went and spoke and represented the commission there. And I don't think it bothered anybody that I went to Jerry's chapter meeting. We should have the flexibility to do those things. A lot of times they're on call. They're not scheduled. They're not board activities. They're individual commissioners' actions. So I don't think that that's something we should be respecting.
But speaking,
Excuse me, it is getting, you know, heat. I think we're beating the dead horse. I mean, there's a motion on the floor.
You wanna call a question on the motion?
Yes, you know, and.
That's the vote. You stop discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's
a point of clarification, Commissioner. I apologize, but I did inform the office. I spoke to Executive Director Mr. Sanza about the event and asked if we would be attending, anybody would be attending it. So that is, I did reach
Okay,
out.
we have a question on the motion. We're gonna vote. Roll
Okay.
call, Pam.
Commissioner Hadden.
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland.
Yes.
Commissioner Sandiford.
Yes.
Commissioner Watson.
No.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Wrapping up my updates, commissioners, so we've got ability now to record. Those will be uploaded immediately after the meeting onto our website, so anyone that missed the meetings will be able to see the full video minus the private executive session portion, and then we'll be able to live stream at the next meeting. Transportation services, this is just an update for all of you. I've been briefed already by this is really part of assessment and planning phase. I've been briefed by the county budget office, the county purchasing office, and the county administration's office just on their policies and procedures. One of the questions that came up, because at the last meeting, this board had voted on and approved for an additional ask of $250,000 for this fiscal year. One of the asks of the budget office is, what is the timeline needed for those funds? Because they're tracking that we have only expensed about 55% of our total allocated funds for this year. So the immediate response I came back with is, well, it's all contingent on our vans purchasing for when we're trying to acquire. In terms of the biggest expenditure we would possibly have out of the $250,000 are these vans for transportation. So the question that I just present on the floor is, what would you like me to relay back to the budget office? We are permitted under law, and I verified that with the budget office, that we can expense, this is an appropriate expenditure out of veterans relief. We currently stand at 194,000 of unexpended balance for veteran relief. We can use that on vans. That's an appropriate expenditure for veteran relief. It's appropriately for that. They just need notice because it would be a capital expenditure and it's a depreciable asset. So, Mr. Stanford.
I mean, I don't have, me looking at it and being familiar with the budget, the expense of doing that is not a problem. The concern is, we obviously need to replenish the relief fund. That is where, if we have the numbers and ready to purchase the vans, we can give that to the accounting office and say, this is how much we need to put back, so that way we're not short as we progress along. So yeah, to me, expending the money in the relief for the vans with the condition that immediately the budget office would then reimburse the relief fund per se.
Oh yeah.
With that expense,
Yes.
that way we're not having a deficit
Right.
of helping veterans as the rest of the year. That would be how I would.
Right.
And that was the discussion with the $250 was for some office equipment
Yes.
and additional advertising, and then the vans is a big chunk of that.
Yeah, so what the budget office has assured me is that they have a much clearer understanding of 5901 and their statutory obligation to give us, this commission, exactly what we ask for, that is going towards veteran relief. So we could do it one of two ways. It's either an acquisition of vans first, and then a request that money then be replenished for the remainder of the year for veteran relief, or we ask for the money for the acquisition of vans first, leaving that money for veteran
Does
relief.
either one hurt us if we do spend the money for the vans first? And
Well,
then,
this-
is there a chance that we,
So the potential, it's more of a legal question for the prosecutor's office, is that if there is an ask for the $250,000 for this fiscal year, does that trigger in the provision of 5901 that we have now been allocated more than 110% of last year's appropriated funds, which would grant the Board of County Commissioners the ability to appoint up to 6 more Veteran Service Commissioners onto this board?
do you believe 2 county commissioners already stated for this year's budget that they would not enact that proposal in a public meeting? That is my understanding from the events, that the commission meetings that I attended. For this year, any increase would not they would not trigger that automatic option for them. Now, I would obviously ask for straight, direct clarification in a public setting, in a public meeting, to have them clarify that before we move forward, because obviously that's an additional $30,000 to $40,000 a year in salary for commission members. That is, to me, that's half of a van in
Sure.
some cases. I mean, that is, I'd rather see it spent for veterans relief stuff than more salaries for more commissioners.
Yeah,
Yeah, give them another 42,000 for.
So, I mean, I think that we should first get clarification from the county commissioners, and I think they have a meeting tomorrow.
Sure.
So we could ask to address them.
I could get clarification from the administrator's office as well, and the other thing too that I just proposed to this commission is that before we purchase a capital asset, if you could allow the staff to just make sure we've got the plan in place for how we're going to track now transportation, how we're going to, hi, Mr. Conlon, take a seat. Good to see you. How we're going to actually, how we're going to staff those vans. I think before we put the cart before the horse and acquire a capital asset, if we could just create and then approve a plan first, this commission first approves a plan, then we acquire.
How long would it take you, based on I know you have documentation of what I do on transportation programming from other counties, to
Yeah.
write a policy that we could see by the next meeting?
The question that I would present to this board is, how quickly do we want to expand transportation services? There is, now that I've talked to the counties that offer, say, Uber Health or taxi service, we can get that turned on a lot quicker than acquiring a van, acquiring drivers, get them cleared, and then create a transportation tracking system. Montgomery County has a transportation coordinator whose sole job is to schedule Uber services. Now they don't have vans, but they have a taxi service through their RTA, their Metro counterpart, and then also Uber. The coordinator schedules the Uber, talks to the Uber driver, talks to the veteran, and makes sure that the veteran gets into the Uber properly, gets to their medical appointment. That could be turned on within a month. If we want to expand the services that way, that doesn't require a capital expenditure. We'd be, continue to do our fiduciary duty to be good stewards of taxpayer money, where the expenditure may be just for next year or down the road, and try out something like Uber Health first. Or the alternative is if we want to acquire vans, there is a pro to that as well. Claremont County has 3 vans, or 4. The pro of that is that It's all right, it's an it's a moving billboard for us. If the van is wrapped, it is going around the city showing that, the Veteran Service Commission is here for you, there's a number on it that we can have. It's also, Claremont County would say it's a point of pride to be able to roll up to the driveway of the veteran, and they're picked up in a pretty nice looking van that's, mobile ready, or disability, for those that have disabilities ready as well. So there's pros and cons, it's just I leave it to the discretion of the board how.
Moving on the director's idea, I'd like to make a motion to implement Uber Health, which I had the documentation, you guys were all provided at one time on that programming. To implement that, starting today, for the executive director to start that program up and get it operational as quickly as possible.
I second that, Mr. Brown.
We have a motion and seconded to, implement a plan for Uber helps, right?
Uber Health, yes.
Yes, okay, sorry. You know me, I'm a little deaf. Is
We
there,
are.
is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Pam.
Commissioner Henton,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
I'd also like to make a motion to have the executive director in the next 60 days write a transportation program for the eventual purchase of capital expenditure vans. That,
For next year.
just we have the policy in place, so that way we, as he said, we're not putting the cart ahead of the horse. We will have our plan in place for when we do make that expenditure. We already have the programming there.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor,
I second.
to have our executive director in the next 60 days get a plan for our transportation going forward.
I second that.
And seconded, any discussion? Yes, Lee? I mean, Commissioner Watson.
That's fine. I think that, that's a great idea, but I wouldn't just restrict the motion to purchase the vehicles. I think we should look at an overall comprehensive plan for transportation that talks about everything. We may have a combination of vehicles. In the event that our vehicle isn't available, we may wanna use Uber or some other type of facility. So the plan should be an overall comprehensive plan that addresses our transportation needs.
But the motion was for a transportation program. It didn't specify just a vehicle with the talk of possibly purchasing vehicles.
So it is a transportation plan,
Yes.
All
Not
encompassing.
just a specific.
all inclusive.
Yes, not just specifically for vans, but with the idea that we eventually.
All right, any other discussion?
Like I said, I think that's the appropriate plan.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Pam.
Commissioner Henton.
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, so we're expanding services, just like we've all talked about for a while now, so thank you for that, vote of confidence. The last is, just website updates, as you all have seen, the website is, I believe, simpler now, cleaner, everything has just been kinda directed into 5 major buckets of news, application for financial relief. We put documents that they need on there, like a landlord form, they can easily download that and print out. And then we'll put events, we'll put newsletters, I believe Commissioner Watson has given everyone a copy of, I think a great draft of a first newsletter, it's just reporting on Commissioner Wilson's recent keynote speaking engagement for the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 10, at the Memorial Day ceremony. We'll put that on the website as well. And then we're on social media, so we're on Facebook and Twitter, continuing to push out information to the community that we haven't done before. So those are our 3 avenues for online community engagement, social media, Facebook, Twitter, and also the website. Just one.
Executive Director, I was gonna talk about my pleasure and privilege to nominate our president of our board to be our keynote speaker for the Vietnam Veterans of America. And I'd just like to share some of those things right now, and I'm gonna take all this time doing it later on. This is our flyer that announced our keynote speaker, and her short biography. Please get these back to me. And this is a picture that we took at the Vietnamese monument where we presented her with, I think it's a challenge coin.
It was a challenge coin.
A part of our ceremony also involved granting scholarships to Hamilton County or Greater Cincinnati area students, and we award. This is just some of the pictures that were taken. We awarded 8 scholarships, and part of the program also was the Cincinnati UC band that has been supporting that ceremony for the last 25 years, and we recognize them as well. And then a little picture of the monument in Eden Park, which is our monument. But we appreciate Jean coming out to speak, and it was my pleasure to ask her to do that.
Thank you, Mayor. Can we scan these and put them on the website? Can we, okay.
Well, that's not a real good picture, but I can.
Okay, yes, if you can send me digital, we'll do that, thank you. All right, that's all I got, Madam President.
All right, now we're under open forum, and
No,
I
I couldn't.
promised you.
No, it's just on, I wanted to stay on point on his, it's
Yeah.
on his report, and I just wanted to comment on that before you do something else. I think it's an excellent report, and I think you probably let the community, somehow maybe putting it on the website with the direction of what the organization is going. Also, as part of this strategic planning development, I think there ought to be maybe an opportunity just allow the vet community to have some input, especially on the goals and objectives. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but just let them know that that's where we're going in direction, so that they can maybe put some things on there. And then as we move forward, I want to talk about, especially when you talk about community engagement, what is sort of the 509 say about, or 5901 say about committee establishment? As we move forward, we can talk about that. What does that look like? Because I'd like to help out in that aspect if it's appropriate to 5901.
So, you can answer that. The 5901 does give this board discretion to create committees. I believe at their January meeting, I believe it was the order of this board to create committees. I think 5 committees were created, or at least 2. But this committees are no longer standing, but they have that authority for sure.
Yeah, and so in my request, a recommendation is to create an outreach committee, right? And part of that intent is really to reach and as it's been said here before, just letting the vet community know about what this commission really does. And so that's going to require a lot of community engagement connections, and I think that a committee, establishment committee, could actually solicit some of the vet community also take some of the workload off of the staff and as well as the commissioner. So recommend we explore that, and I certainly like to be involved in that.
All right, well, thank you. Tom, did you have something you wanted to share today?
Yes, hello everybody, welcome, and we have a good person. I can tell by this outline of the plan going forward that there's a pathway to really let the community know that the VSC is engaged in making changes and all for the better to provide better service. And I'll take a look at this later. Happy to be here. I just want to give a little feedback on the January 20 event.
July.
July.
You said January.
Tom, July 20.
Well, they started with J. So, yeah, so anyway, July 20, thank you. July 20, Saturday morning, 10 to 2. But as far as the outreach goes, a couple of things. I've now heard 5 or 6 times that on the flyer, there's a statement in there that it's required to register by July 20. And I brought this up in the planning committee when I had a chance to comment on the draft, but I'd be alert to make sure that, I've been asked questions, does that mean if I don't register, I can't come, and so on. So it's, when I hear it enough times, and I'm having the same thoughts, I'd asked the first time I saw it, I made a phone call and I said, does this mean if somebody doesn't sign up, they can come? Absolutely they can come. We've got tables, we're gonna have registration. but it just might be a deterrent that seems camouflage, that keep people and families out. So maybe at some point clarified on the web or, you know, out and
Clarify
about.
that, one, the FAQ states that they can register the day of the event. We ask them to pre-register. It's not a requirement. We are asking them to register by July 10th. Just so that way we can kind of have an accurate, close to accurate count of attendance for people. But it is not a requirement, as well as like it is said, anybody who comes that day, if they have not registered, we will register them the day of the event, so the one they can be included in the giveaway raffles, as well as we get their contact information to provide them with future updates with the commission and everything.
It's also for food, the
Sure,
Great American
yeah.
Park. But
I
to
don't
your
wanna
point,
be-
Tom,
I
July,
don't wanna be-
on July 10th, those advertisements are actually going to take off the statement, registered by July 10th. And they're going to continue to run from July 11th through the 19th without that.
I'm giving you the best feedback. In fact, I'm organized and helping this Sunday a big event up in Ohio, and we've asked people to register. But we don't give it a clip or haircut early. I mean, it just gives us enough to judge for the food, and we just make some judgments. But what this says, you know, I don't wanna be argumentative, it says registration required in advance, in bold letters, no later than July 10th. I understand completely, then somebody shows up, they're able to get registered. The next question that I've gotten from veterans is, do I need an ID card? And what if I'm not from Hamilton County? I'm from Clarence, or I'm with the Hamilton County vet. You know, I mean, I don't need to sort that out right now. I'm just, you know,
And
sharing.
again, these
Hopefully
questions can be
it's-
answered in the FAQ that we've provided on the
Sure.
website.
Right, well, I'm sharing with you what I've heard, so
Thank you, Tom.
I'm not trying to
Thank you.
say anybody's right or wrong here.
Tom, I addressed it to the committee before you got here, the same thing, because you told me about that at the meeting last night, and I couldn't answer, so I told you I would bring it to the board and get some information to you, so I'm glad
Okay.
you brought that up.
One more thing, I was at the VA hospital this morning, I got whacked a little bit, everything's fine.
Good.
I didn't see one poster, I didn't see one handout card, and I didn't see one flyer, and I checked every waiting room, and I checked the cafeteria and everything, and I don't need to know what's being done or not. I thought that this body would like to know that, and I know you've got some things in motion, and, you know, you have some expectations. I was there 2 hours ago, and I'm giving you what's not there.
Thanks.
The labor's union, 256 was there handing out donuts. A guy that used to be the executive secretary of the building trades had gotten an email, not a flyer. Nobody from the labor's union had any clue about this,
Thank you.
so.
Bring that attention to the planning committee. Thanks, Tom.
Yesterday I did attend at the VA for appointments. It is on their rolling billboard screens throughout the facility. I did see it on 2. Talking with Todd Sledge, the public affairs for the VA, their print shop's currently working on doing the flyers and stuff, but I do have something that I can take and put in the entrance now, would not be a problem.
Great.
I think I have an appointment tomorrow.
Great.
So to address your concern, I will make sure that it is placed
You know,
But in time for, like, to give the VA, like I said, they have their own print shop, and they're working, we just have the updated flyer that we got with the DAV and everything on it, so I will make sure and address that with,
Great.
Todd Sledge.
One more thing, if you're going that far, the VA hospital has people that, you know, greet you with the red vest. A man this morning was an Army officer, Don Hogan. So I said, Don, have you heard about this great July 20 event? No, tell me about it. So if you are getting into it, I think that part of the training up there is to let those people that are talking to, you know, the veterans and so on. I worked the cafeteria, I stayed for breakfast on purpose, and I must have told 10 veterans, and particularly Navy guy, thank them for hauling me around, and then so on, so anyway, all was good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, I just wanted to piggyback what Tom said, you know, local 48 firefighters union, there's a lot of, firefighters that are vets, the same with, FOP. I know I received something from the Military Officers Association, right, that they were having, USA, I think sent something, I think I got something from VAB. But if we can reach out to a lot of those organizations that we know that have a lot of veterans and get that email list, I think that would be, pretty easy to do.
Talk offline, okay, I'll get that, thank you.
Tony, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Well, it's not on that subject, but one thing I would like to know, I am glad to see it sounds like a lot of progress is gonna be made. Do you guys work at all with the Joseph House?
Yes.
Yes.
You know what it is?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to see more involvement, you know, we have a new facility on Colerain Avenue, 3004 Colerain Avenue. We now have women involved and their children can stay there. There's 63 that can be on there. I've been on that board for about 15 years. So any help that you can give, these folks are homeless, they are drug and alcohol addicted. Yeah.
I toured that building 2 weeks back. I met with the manager. It's a fantastic facility. They offered to come and speak at our board meeting. I had them tentatively scheduled today. They were gonna be here and make a presentation. And the manager and the executive director had scheduling conflicts. We are tentatively gonna put them on our next board meeting, so.
Please do. Yeah, Alicia Patterson is the executive
I spoke
director.
to
She's a
Alicia.
former Marine.
I know her well, well, I don't know her that well, but I spoke to her and we were coordinating it. They were supposed to be here at this meeting to speak.
Good, I would like to hear, I'd like you guys to hear what they've
So
got
we're,
to say.
we're right with you in agreement on that.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Another thing, how would you not volunteer, like for clothes for women and men, how do you get that in?
Well, they will accept them, you need to make sure they just moved in, but anything that's gently worn, no underwear unless it's new,
Right.
no socks unless they're new, shoes they will take, men's, women's. I'm taking them puzzles and other things so that they've got game rooms, so that the folks down there, and if you haven't seen it, you can get over and see it. It is just a fabulous facility.
Now,
It is one of the nicest places I've
Now,
ever
what
seen.
was the address on that?
I believe it's 3004 Colerain Avenue. If you get off at Hopple Street and turn right on Colerain, it's right up the road.
Okay,
Okay, all right,
good.
thank you,
Beautiful
Tony.
facility.
Sure,
I like that garden display you guys got up front.
it's beautiful.
It
isn't it?
it is.
I'll check it out.
Jordan, do you have anything you'd like to say? Observe, or anything? I'd like to say a couple things. First of all, thank you all for being here. We don't mind people coming to our meetings and telling us what they think and believe and all that. I will say this, out of the 5 board members, 3 are brand new this year. So Jerry and I are the 2 oldest board members. I would like to say that my term expires the end of this year. I have no intention of asking for another 5-year term, as I believe that the board needs, as always, new members, okay? But with that being said, I have dedicated my life to veterans. I have done more for veterans than anyone will ever know. I sat on the Joseph House board for 10 years when they were down on Republic Street. I was the president there for 2 years. I sit on the Fisher House board. I'm very involved in the veterans community. I'm very in tune to what they want and their needs. Could we done things better before? Yes, of course. We can always do better. But the intentions of this board is to make sure that we leave no veteran left behind.
Yes.
None, ever. In fact, when I leave here today, I'm driving to Indiana to see a very troubled veteran that I've never met before that asked me to come see him, to try to get him some help. So when people come to this board, I think that we're all veterans and that we should try to treat each other with respect. I don't need to be yelled at. I don't need to be screamed at. I don't need to be told I'm not doing my job. I've done my job, and I will continue to do my job. And when I leave this board, I'll still be involved, because these people know that everybody on this board cares deeply about veterans, or we wouldn't be here. And that's
That
all
may
I
be the
got.
ca- that
I-
may
that's
be
all
the
I
case
got.
now.
No, I'm done.
No.
No,
Well-
we're done.
Up until this year, it's been a failure.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has.
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Gene,
So
Gene,
moved.
Gene,
I'm really done for the day.
President,
So moved.
but hold on, President, we don't have a next meeting scheduled.
Our next meeting will be on July the 3rd, 2024. That's our regular board meeting day.
Well,
At
I-
10
I
a.m.
noticed it was left blank on.
Well, that's our next board meeting, July the
I will not
3rd.
be, I'll be in Atlanta.
Well, that's,
Yeah,
we'll
I
miss you.
understand.
We'll miss you. July the 3rd at 10 a.m. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I wrote you more.
Oh, thank you.
That's next week, Madam President.
Yes, that's right. Right.
Cause
We'll have a
we
second.
changed, that's right, we changed that one day,
We-
I got it
right,
off
right.
kilter.
All right. I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call, Pam.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Staniford,
No.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. We're adjourned.
Before everybody leaves, I mean, Commissioner Wilson, I will say that